Well, good day, Michael here. Today I'm going to bring you the features of two knives and do a cut test on some new rope that I've got. So I'm working my way through the new rope with these different knives. And the two knives are this HuangFu knife, which is similar to the Master Hunter. So it's got very comfortable grip, I've got to say. These are comfortable grips, flat grind. It is 4.6 millimeters thick, 4.2. It's set at about 20-degree angle, I think. It's fairly thick behind the edge, and it's got a reasonable grip. They advertise in 3V steel. Obviously it's not in 3V steel, and I would suggest that it's in about 5CR or thereabouts, 420 type steel. This one I've just got, and it is a very poor replica of the Brakimo from Tops. And I wanted to get this just to see what the ergonomics were like on it and how it felt as a knife. And when I looked up the price of them, these things are about $450. And it's in 1095 steel, which can be a good steel, but it can also be softly done. And if it's softly done at about 56, 57 HRC, it's really not a good steel, in my opinion. It's probably a bit tougher, but its edge retention is not that great. So I wanted to have a look at this knife to see what everyone was raving about and to give my opinion on it. So it's about 132 millimeters, so 13.2 centimeters roughly. And its usable edge is probably, so we're going the right way. Haven't got any line to kind of end it with. No, it's about 12.5 centimeters, so not too shabby. This Master Hunter, doesn't say Master Hunter, but I guess it's similar to the Master Hunter. Its usable edge is about 10.8 centimeters from HuangFu. So HuangFu, despite what they say, do not advertise the correct steels. They lie about their steels, which most of them do. This obviously is going to be in a cheaper steel, so it's nothing like the original. And what I can say, I did some splitting the other day, that's why it's all scuffed and dirty, but what I can say is that it splits wood really well. It's quite good for that task. But when I went to do a feather stick, not so good. In fact, really not good at all. And the reason for that is this. It is very thick behind the edge, and it has a secondary bevel which is around, I don't know, it's over 30 degrees anyway. And so this angle here is probably 20 degrees or something, 17, I don't know exactly. And which would make it more usable, but for you to have that sort of angle here, you're going to have to take away a lot of steel to get anywhere near an angle that's going to perform. So you can get it relatively sharp, which I've done for this test, for this cut test. But because it's so thick behind the edge, it's not really good for carving tasks, for making feather sticks and all that sort of thing. So for an outdoor knife with a divot to do bow drills, and that's what you want to use it for, I was quite disappointed actually in its usability. So for me, that I am glad that I didn't fork out $400 for this knife. I'll probably only ever use it for splitting wood, and it'll probably stay outside, and yeah, I'm not going to put a lot of care into this particular knife. Handle, very plasticky. What can you expect? This knife costs less than $20, so you're not going to expect quality materials for that amount of money. What you can expect is to be able to baton some pine. You're not going to use it for a lot of other different features. And really, both these knives are made that way. If you want quality, you have to pay for it, mostly. You're not going to get quality getting replica knives from China. Save your money, it's not worth it. If you just want a knife that you can just baton through stuff, but it's not going to be a multi-purpose knife, spend the $20. But you'll know that you're not getting quality materials. You have to pay the money to get that. But you want to be sure that it's going to do what you want it to do. And for me, if the original is designed anything like this knife, which I assume it is, it's really not going to perform for me, and I would not be happy that I spent $450 on a knife that's not going to perform the way I want it to perform. I'd be much better off with a very cheap knife from AliExpress that actually does a lot of other features, and I've just bought one like that that's advertised as DC53. It's a nameless brand, but it's working quite well on multiple tasks. This one, not so much. But I'm going to test the steel on this today with a rope cut, knowing that the petrified fish, Beluga, whatever it is, Beluga, got 100 cuts, and the Ganzo 440, I think, got about 70 cuts. If we get these knives to 20 cuts, I'll be surprised. 5CR might get to 40 cuts if it's really well done. But if it's cheap, nasty and soft, it's not going to get there. And the cutting performance of this knife with this edge angle, that's probably now, I've actually changed it. I've made it more like maybe 30 degrees, hopefully. So if I do it anymore, I'm going to be running against that edge, and I don't want to do that. But if I want to put a nice secondary grind on it, it's going to be a ridiculous angle. Great for batoning, not good for anything else like feather sticking. Not that, you know, you're going to do lots of feather sticks in your life, but seems to be a thing online. So we'll do some rope cutting. I'll do a little bit of carving of some wood just to show you that aspect as well. So let's start with the HuangFu. I don't know if it's advertised as the Master Hunter, I can't remember, but it's similar to Cold Steel Master Hunter. Obviously not in 3V steel, they just put whatever steel sounds good that they think they can get away with, but I'm assuming that it's a rat's tang of some sort down to the rivet. So without wasting any more time, let's get on with the cut test. 10 cuts, and then we'll see how it slices paper, which I should do right now just to show you that. So good enough for the test, that's for sure. 10 cuts. So the handle does feel good. I watched a video just recently, and one of the number one things to a lot of users was the actual handle. They rate that higher than anything else. Well, I want to know the steel is for real, and I want to know it's well treated to the spec of that steel. That's my number one thing. Everything after that I can work with and I can investigate. But that's my number one thing, is I want to know the steel and its performance for that steel, that it's heat treated to perform. So I'd like to know the HRC on that steel as well. That would be my starting point. So that's 10 cuts for the HuangFu. Write that down and let's do cut test. Try and get through this a bit faster. Down there. Ooh. A bit of dirt there. I'm seeing some glittering on the edge there. So I have a feeling, yeah. And just where it's glittering there on the edge, where I've been cutting, it's not cutting paper very well. Might be just, you can see where it's jagging, getting caught up. Right there, see? And that's only after 10 cuts every time through there. So there we go, 10 cuts, which for me is very disappointing. And it virtually makes this knife, why would I bother? Hopeless. So that'll be quick. Sneeze on it and it will blunten it, and I can clearly see, you won't be able to see it because my resolution's not that good, but I can see where it's already glittering on that edge. Number one down. Let's do number two. And I would suspect, for the amount of money for this knife, that it's going to be the same. Not cutting well. Ten. So you're definitely not going to get the cutting performance, such a big edge angle, and a slight, not too bad. I can see a little bit on the edge, though, but it's actually cutting through, so we'll give it 10. surprising. And 10. So that'll bring that up to 20. And I'd be surprised if it goes beyond 20, but we shall soon see. It is tearing. Running my finger along the edge to see if it had a burr, and slice. Yeah, it's tearing right there. One big chunk. That was all right. That was all right. Getting stuck there. So I think we'd have to call it on 20 because of that. That one's all right. I don't want to... Yeah, there's just one little point it's getting stuck on at 20. So I'll stop it there. So it's better than this one. And honestly, it's now cutting a little bit better than what it was. But just to show you, it just doesn't make that. And it's just the edge angle's just so big. It's making hard work of it. It just feels clumsy to carve with. It doesn't feel like it's biting and going into that wood at all. It's just, yeah, it's not good to use. And it's a quick comparison of this one. goes into it a bit better. But not real good. Much better. Going in. So there you have it. This one works better, but the steel's rubbish. This one is still slightly better, but just not a good grind, not a good design, and I would not purchase that knife for the full price. Even if it had a good steel, I wouldn't purchase it. Would I purchase this to Baton Wood? Yeah, maybe for 20 bucks, but there's probably better options out there than even that. So have a great day. Thank you and bye-bye.